Hi, I'm Sean Turner. I'm the content director here at Cose, and I'm here with Mireille from Petioli HR. Mireille, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sean.
We're here to talk about a subject that comes up when I speak with small business owners. It's invariably, when I ask them what's giving them a challenge, what they're struggling with, invariably we come back to hiring and just finding qualified people. Creating a efficient hiring process, and then also retaining those people once they are on board. So, Mireille, the first question that I wanted to throw your way and get your perspective on is, if you're an owner and you're having trouble finding labor, what should you do? What are some steps that you can take to identify candidates for your position?
Well, I think there are a number of things that you can look at when it comes to hiring individuals. One of the best sources of hiring, if you're having a difficult time, is employee referral. Do you have an established employee referral program? If you do, how effective is it? Are you paying enough? Are you being responsive to the employees that are bringing you their friends or people that they know resumes? And if you're not getting any employee referrals, this is something that you need to realize what's going on at your organization that you're not getting employee referrals. So there's a number of things you can do when it comes to an employee referral program. Having an effective career page. A lot of the people right now that are applying, they are doing it from their phone. So is your career page mobile friendly? Can they easily view the positions? Are they accurate? Can they apply for the position right there and then, either send you their email or upload it? And what, on your career page, are you selling your company? Are you telling them about why they would want to work there? And one of the key things, especially for small business and mid-sized businesses, you're competing with the big guys. So you need to really sell your company. What are the advantages of coming to work for a smaller company? Because the other thing also about smaller mid-sized companies, they can't pay as much as the big companies. So you really have to show your what perks you have, and not so much in things to give out, but you're able to work in a team environment. You have a say in what's going on in the organization. What other things that the company stands for, any community service. A lot of, especially the younger generation, they're looking not only to come to work, but they're looking to build camaraderie and give back to their community. So that's another section that really you should look at, is the career page. Look what social media, especially Glassdoor, is people are saying about you. If you put in the company name, you'll see, for the most part, some feedback that's anonymous. Are you addressing any negative feedback, and are you thanking for positive feedback? So Glassdoor, social media websites, what's out there and what's being said about your organization. The other thing is, addressing whether you're growing the company or you're replacing candidates. Or replacing employees, actually. Well, if you're growing, that's great. You want to sell that. You're growing, you're getting bigger. If you're replacing employees, again, you need to go back internally to see, why are you replacing? Are there terminations? Are people leaving? And understand that because you'll spend a lot of money recruiting, but you're not spending money and paying attention to why people are leaving or why people are being terminated. And also, when it comes to finding employees, is being effectively using LinkedIn and, again, other social media outlets to let people know you're looking for key candidates. And also involving the executive team and management team to place it on their personal LinkedIn profiles. And again, if people aren't willing to do that, you need to understand why. So those are some of the key points. Depending on the environment, you look at the interview process, make sure it's not dragging out for a long time. You look at the onboarding process to make sure employees are successful once they come on board. And also, you look where you're posting. Are you posting it on the appropriate career boards?
You mentioned, you kind of went through some of the biggest challenges that people are facing, and are there other ways to kind of overcome some of these challenges, some other things that people, in your experience, that people are dealing with as they go out and look for candidates, and some of the successful strategies that they've employed to help them conquer this hiring process?
The one thing that companies do need to make, again, small and medium-sized companies need to pay attention is selling what advantages they have via a large company. One of the things is if you're a large company, you're almost a number. Well, how do you sell the fact that you're not a number in your company, that you're involved in the strategic growth, and being clear of how their position will affect the growth and the success of the organization. You need to be aware of how much you're paying your employees and how that is compared to, again, your competitor or larger companies, because then that will help you immediately take care of that discussion right from the get-go. We do not pay as much as X big company, but here are the advantages that we have. So you get that money discussion out of the way. A lot of people have several interviews, etc., and then they talk about money, and then there's a big discrepancy, and all that time has been wasted, and the candidate feels badly. Another way is really once you have employees that work for you or understand why people have left. A lot of one thing about small companies is that there's a lot of lack of processes and documentation. Because you're winging it, you're working, you have challenges. But after a while, I think employees really they find the first time you do fix something a challenge, and if you're doing it 3 or 4 times, then it gets very discouraging and frustrating. Holding people accountable. Again, one of the advantages of a big company, there's several buildings, there's several floors, but when you're a small or mid-sized company, everyone pretty much knows what's going on. So if good employees see that you're not holding people accountable and either getting them to do things correctly or replacing them if necessary, unfortunately, the good people are the ones who are going to leave. And your company will have a reputation, so you'll have a hard time getting candidates.
So let's say I'm a business owner. I've gone through, I've identified the people that I want to talk to. I've got a pool of candidates. Where do I go from here? What should the hiring process look like? What, in your experience, has been the most successful strategy to do that?
The thing that I have seen, it all depends on what's going on in the market. So if you have a ton of employees and qualified employees, then you can, be very selective in the sense of that you have very specific interviewing process, and you can do so. Maybe it's 3 or 4 interviews, and then they meet with people. Maybe they take a test. When the market favors the employees, in which there are very few qualified individuals out there, you really, if you're going to do the same interview process that you did when the market had a ton of employees, those people won't stay because they'll be swapped up by other companies. So you really need to modify your interview process, not jeopardizing, the quality or the type of information you get, but you need to modify it, and you also need to be very prompt. The one thing that I have found in small companies and mid-sized companies is that they're so busy is that, a client has called, I'm going to postpone that interview. We have something else going on, I'm going to cancel the interview at the last minute. This really hurts an organization. So recruiting, hiring, onboarding has to be top priority for organizations. So that's what I have found that really hurts companies, is smaller companies and mid-sizes, that they will continue to either change their mind when it comes to job descriptions, or they'll postpone the interview because they're too busy doing something else.
Would you recommend rolling or folding in a personality assessment or personality test into the hiring process, or is that something you wouldn't recommend?
I would recommend it, but with caution. A lot of people who have used the personality test, they take that test, and if that employee doesn't score whatever the score is supposed to be, they immediately stop seeing that. They cancel the interview process. Those tools are supposed to be used with your interview, with your application, with you discussing it with the meeting with the candidate. It shouldn't be used to disqualify a candidate. Because, I have found, and I've used them in several of my clients, and I said, okay, well, here are some of the things that the personality test has brought to our attention. When you talk to them, see if that is the case, if you're picking up the same criteria. And I've had many times saying, I didn't see it. I don't understand. He must have answered incorrectly, whatever the case may be. And so the test is wrong. And other times, of course, to say, yep, I saw that he's hesitant. He has problems with, working in a team environment, etc. So the concern I have when people use those particular tests is that they disqualify candidates even before talking to them and getting to know them.
So we've gone through the process. We've identified the candidates. We've done the interviewing. I've found the person that I like. I really think this person is going to be a rock star, and I really want them to stay around for a little while. Mm-hmm. Retention-wise, what should I be thinking about as an employer or as a business owner?
I think the biggest thing is onboarding. A similar issue with small and mid-sized companies is that they're so busy, they just bring the person in and they just throw them on a project. And if the concern I have is that, yes, some people thrive in those type of environments, but others don't. And then somewhere down the line, you're going to see that the person is doing things not the way you would like them to do. And problems occur. So onboarding is key, having them understand, if you hire a project manager, that person has a certain way based on wherever he was at on doing project management in a certain style. He may have the certifications, etc., but there's a certain style. You need to teach that project manager your style, the way you do project management, how you interact with clients, how they interact with the departments, who they interact with. So during that period of time, onboarding, it's really key that they meet with different people throughout the company to understand how they are interacting with them and what your culture and what your philosophy is with dealing with clients and finishing projects, etc. So I think onboarding is key. I think that's where they see somewhere down the line issues come about because they haven't taken the time to properly integrate that person in the philosophy and culture of that organization.
And does this extend to hiring and retaining millennial employees as well? As you work with them and after they've been brought on, is there obviously you want to be treat everyone the same, but do millennials react differently to guidance from an owner or from a manager? Yes,
and I think they've brought to light a good positive thing of instant feedback or immediate feedback. Millennials, a once a year annual performance evaluation is not going to work for them. They need to hear how they're doing, and they prefer to hear if they're not doing well in more of a coaching, mentoring way. And I think that can be done. If you catch a person, regardless whether they're millennials or baby boomers or whomever, and you immediately tell them, no, Sean, this is our process, you're much calmer. They've done it the first time, and hopefully Sean will understand this is the way it's done. If you say, well, if you see Sean, like yourself doing this, you make a mistake, you do it the wrong way, and by the fourth time, your approach will be significantly different than the first time asking. So I think millennials are asking for feedback, positive feedback, but also constructive feedback when it comes to them doing things incorrectly. And they also want to be involved, which is, again, a great thing for any generation in an organization, is to be involved with what's going on. So that's the thing that they have changed, is that because, everything's instant, their tweets and their Facebook, everything, the information they get is instant. So again, they're looking for the same type of feedback from their employers and their bosses, that they provide that coaching and mentoring.
Great. Well, Mary, thank you so much for taking a few minutes today. I found this really, really enlightening. Hopefully the audience did as well. Thank you again very much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Sean. I enjoyed our conversation.
Great.